Stanford University.
Please join me in welcoming Bill Gates back to Stanford University.
I always love coming to great places like Stanford, meeting with the people doing the research. That's not just going to improve the world, but it's going to improve the condition for those most in need. I'm going to mention three particular innovations because these are ones that have just recently been rolled out, and they're kind of different, each in their own way. You can see that in some ways it's deep science, and in some ways it's pretty straightforward. So the first example I want to talk about is what's called a meningitis A vaccine. It's this little bottle right here. And this became the first vaccine that was ever created specifically for Africa. So it's just targeted to the meningitis that was taking place there. That allowed it to be very inexpensive, allowed it to be a single-dose vaccine. And so what's happened now is, we made the vaccine available, and everybody in this band of countries we saw, the meningitis belt, will get the vaccine. So far, about 50 million people have gotten the vaccine. And when we get it out across this entire belt, it actually should eradicate that meningitis A, from that part of Africa. The second thing I want to talk about is HIV and what's going on with that epidemic. One thing that was discovered is that if you're circumcised, your chance of catching AIDS is reduced by over 60%. So when that was discovered, people said, well, that's interesting, but what are we going to do about it? I mean, that's kind of a very culturally distinct thing, and are people even willing to talk about it? Is there any way that you can do it? You need a lot of surgeons, and surgeons, they could make mistakes, and people are sensitive about mistakes. And this just may not work. Well, there was a French scientist in South Africa who took an area called Orange Farm, and he went and proved that if you provided the service, if you promoted it, that the young men who you want to come in, say age sort of 12 to 20, that they would come in. And so he got over 80% coverage of this township area. The question was, what do you do to avoid the need for lots of surgical time? Typically, a surgeon would need on the order of 30 minutes per procedure. And so what was invented is this thing. It's called the Sheng ring. And what this does is it reduces the time that the surgeon has to be involved down to a few minutes. Now, in no way does it substitute for the fact that we want a vaccine. We want a perfect preventative tool. And we're going to keep investing in that. But in the meantime, for not too much money, maybe $1 billion in total to cover all of the heavily affected areas, we can promote, roll out, and deliver these circumcisions because of this piece of plastic that completely changes the training required and the complexity. Let me move to the last innovation, which is an agricultural thing. What we're showing here is cowpeas, and these are a protein-rich crop that's grown a lot in West Africa. The reason that they weren't growing it in the past is because that the insects would come in. There are small insects called weevils. They would come in and eat all this. And once they eat it, not only do you have less beans, but the beans you have taste bad. The breakthrough that they came up with is this triple-layer bag, which is actually quite inexpensive, but it's got 2 layers of polyethylene and 1 layer of artificial plastic canvas mesh type. And so farmers are given this, and if you stick your cowpea in here, seal it at the top, the weevil can get through this outer layer, but then it suffocates, and so it's not going to be able to get in. And so you can certify your crop as being weevil-free because it's in one of these bags that are branded and very high quality. And so now there's over 1.7 million households that will increase their income by $150 a year, which is a lot. That's like a 30% increase for them. There are a lot of heroes in this game, and that's why it's fun to work on, and certainly something that I'm very optimistic about. Thank you.
For more, please visit us at stanford.edu.